Hey, YouTube family and GN subs. Hope you're having a great week. And we got some breaking news on DACA, but you've heard probably a lot of different things. I'm going to break it down, make it very simple for you to understand and digest. So that's what we're going to do. Those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Humberto Gray, attorney at law. I am here in sunny Southern California on the west side, near Venice, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, in Brentwood. You can always get me at hrg@GrayLaw.com. That's the only place you can get me. There's a lot of scammers out there with, WhatsApp addresses, etc. No, you don't send it to there. You can send it directly to me. So at the end of this segment, I have a question from one of my subscribers. And what I do is I pick the best question out of the week. So stay around, so I'll give the answer to that question. And so a lot to unpack today. So let's get at it. All right, so the Fifth Circuit ruled that DACA was unlawful. What does that mean? Everyone goes, oh my God, DACA's over. Again, Mr. Good News guy, there is good news in this. Trust me. And I'm going to explain exactly why, all right? So DACA was initially issued by President Obama in June of 2012, right? Those children who came to the U.S. illegally at no fault of their own, they were brought by their parents, were able to get what's called deferred action. So they've been here in the United States, they've had deferred action, they have work permits, they've really established their lives in the U.S., okay? That's what DACA is generally. You guys probably know that. There have been lots of states like Texas and Florida, et cetera, that has been trying to get rid of DACA. It's a result of the Trump administration, just mean-spirited. So one case out of the Fifth Circuit recently ruled that DACA was unlawful, but that case was remanded back to the lower courts. Why was it remanded back to the lower courts? Well, we'll explain that in a bit. However, while it's remanded back, DACA would stay in place. That was the ruling. If you're in the U.S. with valid DACA, that will remain valid, right? Also, the current administration doesn't know yet, but they may appeal to the Supreme Court. That will keep in place DACA as well. Now, here's the key. Here's what a lot of people don't know. The Biden administration put in place regulations that will come into effect October 31st, 2022 to codify DACA. What does that mean? That means regulations that mirror the current policy that actually make law the policy of DACA. So that's what's going to happen in the lower courts. They're going to determine whether or not, the regulations are valid. But that, again, will take effect the end of October. Keep in place DACA. That's the great news. I put a link in the description box below that delineates the regulation. It's actually from USCIS, outlines the regulatory policy. So you can take a peek at it. Now, why is this good news? I think this is putting pressure on Congress to make DACA law. If they do that, the courts can't touch it, okay? I said it before, I'll say it again. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for the Dreamers, going to happen for DACA. It's going to be codified. Regulations are going to stay in place. DACA is going nowhere, folks. All right, another bit of good news. So undocumented aliens in Florida and Chicago are getting a benefit, right? We hear a lot about negativity, what's happening with the undocumented, put on planes, sent all over the U.S., and it's really unfortunate. However, compassion wins, folks. Compassion wins, I'm telling you. In Chicago, even if you're undocumented, you live in Chicago or any of the Cook County area, you are going to receive cash assistance of $500 per month. You have to meet certain thresholds, that is make less than $69,000 a year for a family of four, and then you qualify, you get $500 per month. They're trying to make that permanent in Florida because of the hurricane Ian. Undocumented people can get assistance from FEMA as well. That's wonderful news, folks. Again, I'm a good news guy. Compassion wins. I love it. I love the positivity. All right, another bit of good news. Because of the backlog, we have policy that's being put in place by both State Department, USCIS, waiver of interviews. There's also what AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, what they're trying to do is set policy to alleviate the backlog. So they've suggested several things. Number one, automatic renewal of non-immigrant visas. Those individuals who couldn't use the visa because they were stuck out of the U.S. due to COVID. Automatic extension of green cards. Those individuals who were stuck out of the U.S. And generally, if you're out of the U.S. for more than a year, you basically abandon your green card, alleviate that, and give an automatic 24-month, 2-year extension on that green card, even if you were out of the U.S. Policy regarding citizenship. You still qualify. If you were stuck out of the U.S., you have to be here 2.5 of 5 years to qualify. If you were stuck, they'll waive the time frame. One thing that's worked really well, they've had virtual interviews, right? Online interviews at the U.S. consulate, at USCIS. I've appeared at all my interviews virtually or by phone. It's been great. So they want to continue that. It helps, instead of me sitting downtown for 4 hours waiting for the interview, it's done quickly. The officer usually calls me. It's more efficient. It's done quickly. There's no waiting. So let's hope they make that permanent. All right. So one of my subscribers had a wonderful question that I'm going to put forward. So what I do basically is if you have a question that you post in the comment section, I'm going to pick weekly the best question, and I'm gonna read it to you. All right. So this is from Spicy Shinobi, and Spicy writes, my question is, with Kiloton, there is no I-94, so that's the record of entry into the United States, or any record of driving along the border. How will I be able to approve this and adjust status? Okay, that's a great question. All right, it happens all the time with my clients. So Kiloton basically is when you come through the border and the immigration officer waves you through. Usually it's in a car, someone else is driving, and they just don't ask you any questions, right? You're waved in. That is considered a lawful entry. We've talked about this before in previous videos. So the question is, you don't have an I-94. How can you prove that you entered with Kiloton? Well, there's a lot of things that you can do. First, you have to document through a statement, right? So this is a written statement of what happened before, during, and after your entry into the United States. So you were staying at this hotel. Maybe you have a receipt at the hotel. You took some pictures. Maybe it was the last time you're going to be, in Mexico, let's say. Usually it occurs through the border in Mexico. So you took some pictures. You described the car. You described the officer. You described the entry. You described in detail. When you get to the United States, again, maybe photos, where you stayed, who you stayed with, statements from those individuals that, yeah, you came on this date, you stayed, etc. So you paint a picture, a factual picture of the actual entry. That's how you prove Kiloton, folks, and we've been very successful on that. Hey, thanks so much for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like and subscribe. You can get me at hrg@graylaw.com. I have no WhatsApp. I have no other number that you can call. It's through hrg@graylaw.com if you want to get me. All right, thanks again. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week.